I'm Dr. Margaret Contra-Sutton of Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Did you know that skin cancer is the most prevalent of all cancers and that over 1 million Americans will develop skin cancer every year? Develop a regular routine to inspect your body for any skin changes. If any growth, mole, sore, or skin discoloration appears suddenly or changes, please call Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics to schedule a skin check.
This is Inspired Interviews, and I am your host, Katie Kinsella-Boles. This podcast is sponsored by Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Today, we have Charlie Foster with us. Charlie serves as a special assistant to the Vice Chancellor of Diversity and Inclusion. She focuses on diversity initiatives and practices in support of student success. As a leader of a team at the Jackie Gahn Multicultural Center, Foster supervised the development of initiatives and programs for vulnerable student populations navigating higher education. Foster continues to work to provide culturally reflective student retention support, advocate for student social engagement, develop education on diversity awareness, and institute resources in support of diversity enhancement scholarship recipients. Working with students and professionals to better serve this community is a personal passion, while leveraging each conversation as an opportunity to alter how students view the notion of diversity and inclusion is also a priority. Welcome, Charlie.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you. I was in the crowd during our Inspire Girls panel, and that was a few months ago.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know, Inspire Girls was this super cool, large event for junior high and high school girls. And in the beginning, we had a panel with several women from the community, leaders in the community. And then also there was breakout workshops that they could go to and booths that they could visit. And it was amazing.
It was a wonderful event.
Thank you. I left that day feeling so encouraged by the messages I heard on the panel, but also by what I was hearing the girls saying.
The girls were wonderful.
They were so fabulous. It was just beautiful. And I also felt that if I recorded the panel, I could make that some sort of, not mandatory, I don't like using that word, but some sort of educational opportunity for girls at that age. That's how powerful I felt the words were.
Wow.
I really did. I wish I were 16 years old and reliving that for me at 16 years old. I don't think I had opportunities like that to hear from that many women with such beautiful perspective. And there were a couple of things that you talked about that resonated with me. The first that I remember that stood out was when you talked about your mother and your words. You said, she loved me.
She did.
She loved you. And I could feel when you said it, the love. And that's so fortunate and beautiful and amazing. And I wanted to ask, what did your mother teach you? What did that love do for you?
Oh, my goodness.
Loaded question.
I describe her often as being the greatest example of a Christian woman. And that's important to me because of my own religiosity. But she was so kind just to everyone, and everyone knew it. She took care of little old ladies and babies, and she was just kind, and she gave back to the community. And all of those things are things that I try to show in my life. She was a great model for the kind of woman I wanted to be, someone who cares, someone who shows that in everything.
Yeah, I can tell that you care. I think you do sound a lot like her from what I know, for sure. Yeah, I think that when we have someone who is that close to us, who's being a true role model, that's powerful because so many people don't.
And that kind of parenting comes with sacrifice. And so there are things that we do when our children are young to try to give them the best opportunities possible. We're reading books and we're taking them places, but we're also trying to make sure they're having lessons so that they walk away as good people. I remember saying very specifically to my boys, we don't litter on God's earth. So making everything personal and very specific, so that they knew what our values were. And now my kids give back in the community because that's who we are.
It is important to explain why we do the things we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I explain to my kids when the opportunity arises, I'm very careful with wording
Mm-hmm.
and explaining the why, because if they don't understand the why, you're missing most of the lesson. I'm thinking, you said sacrifices. So I think, I would like to go to sleep versus reading a book. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And the time and the presence
Mm-hmm.
to explain these things.
That we're being intentional in all of our efforts. We're having conversations with our kids if we're doing well. We're also apologizing to them. So we're modeling for them the kind of behavior that we want them to engage in later. So we're doing the things as parents, hopefully, that will help shape the next generation as folks who give a darn.
Yeah. I'm reflecting, maybe my kids may see the best version and worst, but best version of me to emulate.
That's fine.
I'm talking about it. When I'm very intentional in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
I smile, I apologize, I let them know I'm human, I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do see the best version of me, most likely.
Well, all those pieces are important.
Yeah.
It's also important for them to see us as fallible people, because they need to understand that they can get up from things that don't go right as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. We struggle. We cry sometimes. We rock through it. And that gets us kids who have good mental health on the other side as well.
Right. For sure. Yeah. I was at a 5th grade graduation yesterday. And I was in 5th grade, I don't know, in the 80s. And we didn't have graduation then where I went to school. But they had a really fabulous presentation. And all the teachers who had taught them up until that point gave messages through the video. It was. And every single one of them said, just be you.
Mm-hmm.
You are the best at being you. And
You're the expert at being you.
Oh, yes. And I was sitting behind the kids, but there was a group of parents,
Mm-hmm.
but the moms were the ones who were tapping me, telling me about it. They said there were a lot of emotional children who were crying, and not because they were sad, but just because they understood how special
Mm-hmm.
it was.
The moment was.
The moment. And it made me so happy that a little boy came up to me afterwards, because I was teary, and he touched me on the face and he said, I cried too. It's okay. I said, I cried because I was happy. He said, me too. I'm still crying. It's okay. And I thought, thank goodness we are teaching these kids it is okay to feel emotion in front of your friends,
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old friends, and that are boys. I just feel like the world's come a very far place since I was in 5th grade.
I would agree with you. That notion of teaching all children that it's okay to have emotion. I think that's powerful.
Okay, you are a boy mom.
I am a boy mom.
And
Big and bigger is what I call them.
Tell me about being a boy mom.
My boys are 27 and 29 now, but they were busy and active in sports and school activities, and it was a lot of fun. My husband and I talk often about how raising our children was the best part of us. We came together well on how to parent and how to make sure they were good people. And because of that, I feel good as a boy mom, because we did fun things. We learned together. We built forts. We did we did those boy activities, and it was good.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was
You
fun.
were a fun mom. Hands-on.
Not all the time, but yes, I was hands-on.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Disney in our lives.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. We would sing all the Disney tunes, and we still do.
Yes. Do you guys break into song?
We break into
what's your songs?
That Hercules song,
Yes. Yes. That is a good one. Yeah, we have a few songs we break into too. But recently it's been like that Korn song. Not so much Disney. Have you heard this?
I have not.
I will show you. It's a viral sensation. It's probably outdated. We probably jumped on the bandwagon late. But fun in parenting is so, and seeing parents have fun with you, with the kids. Yes. Vital.
All that's important.
Yeah. When I had my daughter, I had this incredible emotion like flood over me, thinking I need to teach her certain things, many things. And I don't know if it wasn't to teach her to not make the mistakes I made. That was not it. It was just to teach her to be strong in certain ways. And, you don't have to do anything that doesn't feel comfortable to you. You don't need to think you need to look like anyone else, but I feel that these same lessons are for boys. And maybe I've been lacking on teaching my boys the same kind of things that I was so eager to teach my daughter about.
Luckily, it's not too late.
I know.
But I understand that perspective. You know how to be a little girl.
Yeah.
So you came at those lessons from a place that was pretty clear. Being a boy mom pushes me to think about what I want to see in men, And so for us, that's being nurturing. I want to see that. But my dad was nurturing. I want to see you having conversations and reading books and learning things. And those are things that my husband does. And so able to push them towards those things, but remind them that they're important. But also reminding them to do the guy stuff too, being strong and understanding things. So it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Tell me about your dad.
My dad was born in 1926. So think of early America, where he learned to drive a donkey and a wagon thing before he learned to drive a car. He grew up in the South where it wasn't safe to be a Black man very often. And so there were a lot of fears there, anxiety, even for his adult children. And I was a very late life child. I was born when he was 43, but the world that he saw happening was so different than the world he grew up in. And so we had lots of conversations about that.
That's special. Being able to talk to your parents about what they've seen compared to you. I've been fortunate with my dad with that too. Because not all of it is, a lot of it can be painful.
A lot of it was. And the things that he got to see, he was in World War II and, just all of the different lessons that he gave me just talking about his life. It was very powerful. And my boys got to spend lots of time with him. And so that was a blessing as well.
That is a blessing. Oh, your boys are amazing. They have a fan club.
Oh my goodness. That's
yeah,
funny.
they do.
The Fosters.
The Foster Boy fan club. Tell me, are there women who have served as mentors to you throughout your career, I imagine?
Throughout my career. I think very specifically of Dr. Colleen Jones here in Lincoln. She's amazing. She's done so much for the university, but also for the community. She's active in charitable opportunities within the community. And so I'm doing those same things. United Way, I've had opportunities to sit on some boards, YWCA, and now with the Woods Charitable Foundation. So just trying to do things that are good, that help people.
Yeah. And that makes you feel good too.
And it makes me feel good along the way
yeah.
too.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Is there certain advice that you've received that has stuck with you? I've been thinking about how there are mentors in my life and there are things that have stuck with me that I don't even realize. It's like a way of life for me. And I think I realize it more when I hear my children say them.
That's neat.
I'm like, oh, I win. Yes. I took the best part of what someone taught me. And now I have an 8-year-old little girl saying, what do you mean? There's no boy or girl colors. Boys don't wear pink. And I thought, yes. Okay. So I wonder, are there things that you were taught throughout your career, your growing up, where you realize that they've truly been part of your being?
My mom was, wow, she was a lunchroom lady who started, gosh, this is a long story. She started working in the lunchroom in Alabama after having a child very early. So she was very young. She was working there when MLK was killed and remembered crying in the freezer because the kids were happy. Okay, and so that's the kind of places it comes from. She would remain in this same school, getting promotions, finally where she became the manager of the lunchroom. But people would come in and not recognize her because she was a Black woman. And so she would say, it really doesn't matter what people see and what people think. You do your good job. And eventually they'll have to come and talk to you. And those experiences sort of still stay with me, that it doesn't matter what it looked like. I just need to do a good job. Mm-hmm. And so I work really hard all the time. And I think that kind of work ethic, my kids understand it and they share that.
I love it.
That was a long way to go.
That's fabulous. And it's so true. It's almost like it doesn't matter. It's what you do and no one's watching. You're just going to push forward, work hard.
And work hard. Mm-hmm. And that being said, I want everyone to have success. And that means my success doesn't get in the way of your success and vice versa. Unfortunately, we live in a world where very often people get caught up in this zero-sum game where they feel like in order for us to win, everybody else has to lose. And that's so unfortunate. Mm-hmm. And so I try to share that with my kids as well, that we can all win together.
Yeah. Okay. I want to shift gears to talk about your professional life. Can you tell me about your role at the university?
I work within the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Much of the work that I do is centered around making sure that everyone succeeds. I really enjoy the opportunities that we have to share with students about why the educational place that we have on campus is good for us. It's good for the state of Nebraska. We're a land grant school, which means we educate everyone from the state. And so that means I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, that everyone has the same opportunities. Our code of conduct says that one student can't stand in the way of another student's success. That's powerful to me, that our values are very specific, that we want everyone to participate, we want everyone to feel comfortable, and that this place is for all. So that being said, I have this wonderful job where I work with people and help students feel comfortable. I help them create activities. I participate in really strong initiatives that help our students be better on the other side. One of those is our Husker Dialogues conversation. It's created for first-year students as they come in. We recognize that many of those students have never talked to anyone outside of their home school or church or community. And so we're giving them opportunities to learn how to have better dialogue with each other. Because think about the social media world that our students have to live inside of. We want to make sure they're not just having conversations on the gram. We want them to have real conversations with each other because that's how we learn.
Right. And real conversations. If you're having them or watching them on social media, you're a spectator, right, and you don't learn how. And a lot of it, the back and forth isn't healthy.
Correct.
I feel.
We want to make sure that they're having respectful conversations as we sit in classrooms together, as we participate in groups and activities together. We have to talk to each other and work with each other for the good of all. If we don't learn that at some point, that's going to give us a hard time either in the classroom space or in the jobs that we're seeking to have later on. And so it is to our students' benefit to learn how to have healthy dialogue.
I'm thinking about when I went into school. So my first, it was community college in Minneapolis, and it didn't really feel like, we talk about the college experience, and I don't feel I had it there. I wasn't there very long, but I do remember all of a sudden realizing it was a forum for people to talk out loud. And you'd see some people who would take that to a certain level and some didn't take it at all. And then I went back to school as I guess you would say non-traditional, late 20s. And I went to Metro State in Denver. And that was nice because you really did feel like you were part of a community in a classroom. And I was older, so I was watching, maybe could be more of a role model. Plus, it's no surprise I talk a lot.
You were making friends.
I was making friends, communication classes, people who like to talk. But it is such an important lesson to learn because there's no class for that.
There is no class for that. And it's so important to walk away with those skills. Our engineering department is doing a wonderful job with that, teaching the soft skills, or they're on the other side, teaching us how to have good, respectful dialogue. It's important in the workspace. I sort of laughingly say all the time that I want to make sure that our students walk away not only skilled in their particular educational pursuit, but to walk away being able to hold on to the jobs that they get, not making the mistakes of being disrespectful.
Right. Yeah. I'm a teammate at a high school, and that is something too that you're working so hard to learn through high school. And of course I went to high school in, the 90s. Sometimes I'm like, you can really say that and it's okay to say that. I could not get away with that,
Right.
It's just
a different world.
It's a different world. So
it's a different world. And that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay. I think what's important, though, is that we learn to give room for folks to be different. And I say this all the time. People get sort of caught up in what the words inclusion and diversity, what those words mean. Those words mean that everybody's just a little different. I'm right-handed. My husband's left-handed. That's difference right there in my house. Next door might be someone who's lived through a divorce. To the other side might be someone who's has an autistic child. There's all kinds of difference. Doesn't make difference bad. Just makes difference different.
Yes. My dad would always say different strokes for different folks. I didn't know where he got it. It was from the song, but I didn't realize that when I was younger. I just will always remember that he said that to me, and often. And just in a way to say, if somebody was doing something that seemed very, very different to me, like, oh, wow, they're doing this way. Different strokes for different folks. You would just shrug it off.
I had a brother who had a birth defect, and he grew up and did all kinds of wonderful things, but he also played wheelchair basketball. Very different. And that really changed my perspective on thinking about what was important. So when I see places where the sidewalk isn't prepared for, someone who's in a wheelchair, that's important to me. But that's because of my life experience, and everyone brings that to the game. And that's important for us as we're having discussions with our students.
Yes. And to realize, put yourself in the shoes of someone who has experienced or is experiencing something, or if it was your family or your brother or your sister. I'm trying to teach my kids that different means everyone, including you.
Exactly.
You are very different from anyone else. We're all not the same. But, however,
there's a whole bunch of similarity there. We all want to be warm when it's cold. Yeah. We all want to be cold when it's hot.
Okay.
And we all want to have full bellies. How about that?
Very good.
And keeping that in mind is important.
And we all feel sadness.
We feel sadness. We want to belong. The Maslow's hierarchy, that's important.
Yes. Yeah.
We want all those things. We want our children to be safe. We want them to have the best life possible.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We don't have to use that as weaponry against someone else. Instead, we can work towards having a better community and helping folks build community where they feel comfortable. The university, in 2025 sort of leads us to have discussions about building a welcoming space where folks feel like they belong. That's a wonderful part of my job, having the opportunity to talk with folks about what can we do to make this space feel good for you? Mm-hmm. What can we do to help you get to your best place? Because if our staff and our faculty are at their best place, our students will get to their best place as well.
What do you hear a lot about what creates a welcoming space for the kids
it's different. It's different for every person. Yeah. For some students, they want a place where they feel like they can study and meet people who want to do similar things. And for others, they are very aware that we're a predominantly white institution. And so they're looking for spaces where they see some faces that look like theirs. It just depends on who you're talking to, right, and making sure that they get what they need.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful job.
It sounds like a wonderful job. You were an integral part or a catalyst for the Hate Will Never Win rally.
I was a wonderful supporter of
that. Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah,
I'll take that.
I was working on the verbiage there. And I remember at that point seeing things on the news and feeling chills, and that's me feeling that. That's not someone who was targeted. And now I think back to that, and I think about how the staff had to help navigate that, both for themselves as mm-hmm. staff and personally, and then navigate that for students. What was that experience like? Or maybe we should first talk about the history. What was going on?
That was during a period of time where there were some really loud voices, we'll say it that way, who were talking about hate, espousing violence. And we ended up having one of those folks as a student on our campus. They were saying things. People felt uncomfortable. Our basketball team found out about some videos that he had made saying things about campus. He had said those things. They came out. They were on a plane. They made a decision by the time they landed that they wanted to use their platform to speak against it. And they had these very simple shirts that said, "Hey, we'll never win," which was really powerful. We jumped on board in support, passed out some 8,000 T-shirts. We also helped with their PSA, helping them give language to what they thought was important. And we helped plan a rally for our campus. About 1,500 people came to be in support of our basketball team, but just in support of our campus and the values that we have about everyone belonging, and that this is a good place for everyone. And those shirts, are still floating about there. We're coming up on the 5th anniversary of, the 5th anniversary came up on Valentine's Day, but we'll celebrate this fall. We think it's really important for us to say, this is who we are as a campus, and this is who we continue to be, that we care about everyone.
Yeah, make it live on.
Right.
Bring it back to focus on often. It's not like that incident. There was so much more since then. 2018?
Right. That was just 2018. It's amazing how time flies, but at the same time, how things stand still. And so we want to make sure that we are giving a good message that says these are what the University of Nebraska's values are. We value one another. We value the safety of one another. And this is who we are as a campus, and we take that very seriously.
Mm-hmm. I remember being very impressed with how the university handled it. It made me proud to be here. And okay, I'll go back to my question. What was it like to navigate it personally and as a staff member?
I felt like I was outside my body. I had to take care of my students. That was what was important. Okay. And be there for the students in a way that was both as a facilitator, but also as a caregiver. My background is mental health. And so as a clinician, I'm concerned about what the students' needs were in that moment. And so we took a lot of time to partner with our counseling and psychological services on our campus to make sure that everyone was cared for.
Yeah. That it's traumatic to have something like that happen in your home. So, yeah. Charlie, what gives you hope?
Our students give me hope. Every day, I get the opportunity to have conversations with students who have great dreams. They're dreaming of what tomorrow will be like with their influence. So they're dreaming of, how can I build systems that are helping other students do well on this campus? How can I create an initiative or a student organization such that students find their space and build community? Our students are wonderful, and they're the hope for tomorrow. And that's why we do what we do, because we get to help them dream. I was working with one student who, she's Middle Eastern, and her biggest goal was to figure out ways to help other students who are Middle Eastern, North African, have a voice. And so those MENA students created a student organization. They're doing wonderful things on our campus. But also, she found an internship at NASA. She's doing just amazing things. And so I have these great students with these great stories. And that's the other part of Husker Dialogues. We have students telling their stories, and our students are able to learn from other students, their peers who are just a little bit older, about how to build community on our campus. Our students are our hope.
Oh, and it's so refreshing.
It is.
I feel so much less, I feel less worry knowing that that's the next generation of leaders. I can't believe how far we've come.
We've come a long way, and our students have a long way to go, honestly. We want to make sure that they have all the support that they need so that they can dream big.
Right. Well, they have an excellent support system with you all.
We try. We work really hard.
Well, it shows. It shows. Okay, Charlie, you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Come with it. I'm ready.
Okay, you ready? All right. You get in your car.
Get in my car.
I'm going to give you 4 options. Are you going to blare music, listen to a podcast, have complete silence, or make a phone call? And then you say option D or E if it's none of the above.
It's sort of a mixture. I'm going to get in the car. There's going to be noise because I can't deal with silence in the car. But it's either Comedy Channel on Sirius, where I'm like laughing it up to Kevin Hart, or it's music and I need Mariah Carey, somebody to really shake it up.
Oh, Mariah Carey, that's my go-to. Mm-hmm. That's my power music. Love it. Eva's too. It's like our secret. It's like a secret club, the Listen Loud to Mariah Carey Club. Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay. So I'm not going to say desert island, because why do people say desert island?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? Is it an island? It's not an island.
I'd like to just be on an island.
Okay. You're on an island. You can only bring one soundtrack. You're going to be on this island a while. A movie soundtrack.
Ooh.
I know things are different now. We listen to a lot of Sirius and Pandora, etc.
Right. Because I was like, I'm ready with the playlist, but...
Tell me your playlist. Okay, nope. Tell me your playlist.
90s R&B.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Today, we're going to 3 of your favorite places in Lincoln.
Okay.
Where are we going to go?
Holmes Lake.
Okay.
Because it's pretty. What is it called? For the flowers.
The botanical... Sunken
Gardens. Yes, there. And the zoo. I love the zoo. And the zoo.
Oh, I love all 3 of those places. Okay, what's your biggest pet peeve?
People who lie. Ooh. I don't like liars. It has a lot to do probably with my religious background, but I don't like liars.
All right. This one I ask a few people. I get varying answers. I'm excited to hear yours.
Oh my.
How many exclamation points are okay for an email? You're happy, exclamation points, Charlie.
I'm one of those exclamation point people. And so I'll do like 2 at a time.
Yeah.
So, but no more than 6, probably.
No more than 6. Okay. How do you feel about smiley faces?
I like smiley faces too. I'm an emoji exclamation point kind of person. One of my top 5 on Clifton Strengths is positivity. So I apologize, but that's me.
No, I love it. I once communicated to my mom only through emojis for a week. I wanted to see what she would do. She didn't even figure it out. I was like, okay, well, this just must be my way. Thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, it was a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate all your work and you being you. You're fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today's Inspire podcast is sponsored by 3 incredible women and board-certified dermatologists, Dr. Margaret Contra Sutton, Dr. Lee Sutton, and Dr. Liz Sutton of Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics physicians and providers are expert leaders in the fields of dermatology, skin cancer surgery, and medical aesthetics. Call 402-484-9009 or visit suttonderm.com to schedule an appointment with Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics today.